What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today, BTC USD. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. We're sitting here on the 8th of June, at about $105.5 thousand. 19 hours, 51 minutes left in the day, 19 hours, 51 minutes left in the week here, with a very bullish doji candle on the weekly time frame, right? This is a dragonfly doji. It looks very, very bullish, and generally promotes the idea of a reversal and continuation to the upside, right? Something like this is oftentimes, it oftentimes prompts more growth to come over the coming weeks, right? If we look back in time, let's just see the last time we had something like this. I mean, to be fair, the last time that we had a candle like this was all the way over here, and we actually went down lower over the next 2 weeks to come. The last time we had a candle before that was like this was over here, and we did grow for 2 weeks. Before that, maybe this one here, and we kept growing, right? Here, and we kept growing. Here, and we didn't grow. It's not flawless, but it's generally a bullishly perceived outcome, right? If we're looking at the weekly RSI, this will contest this perceived outcome of bullishness on the weekly closing time frame based on the candlestick pattern here. If we're looking at the weekly RSI, we have rejected the overbought, so we getting into it and out of it within 1 week. That does constitute as a rejection. And typically, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but not always, but typically you would expect that you find support around the 50, if not even lower, if you reject an RSI. The best case scenario you can come up with is that you find support at the 60 or somewhere above and then get back into the RSI. By the way, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. As bearish as this is, it's dramatically more bullish if you can get back into the overbought zone. If you can is the right word supplant. If you can replace a absurdly bearish formation in the RSI with a bullish formation immediately, that's absurdly bullish. That's more bullish than this, man. We're probably going to get a humongous reading to the upside that's going to promote a lot of growth in a very, very short amount of time. And that's kind of the expectation here. Maybe not this week, maybe not next week, but soon enough we will be growing to the upside. Truthfully, here at $105.5 thousand, I'm still expecting that we go below this low. Even with the week looking like this, the week looking like this has me think we go up. The RSI looking like this makes me think we go down. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame and zoom out from there. See if we can deduce any other outcomes from other time frames. I feel like I keep looking and it looks like my mic's muted. Can you guys hear me? No, it's not muted. It's fine. I'm just catching a glare or something. Whenever it's muted, I got this light that like blinks at me. It tells me it's muted, and I swear it keeps blinking, but it must be a glare because it's in a different place than it normally is. $105.5 thousand now at the 1 hour time frame. Looking at this here, continuously rejecting the overbought zone, guys. That's not a good look. You're down at the 50, but I have a feeling you're going to go lower. You do have lower lows in the RSI while maintaining higher lows in the price, but if you're looking at this here, right, a lot of this happened on the weekend, this move up without volume. The move down, however, even though it's on the weekend, started happening with volume. The volume is not to the upside, it's to the downside. That tells me that this is kind of, quote unquote, false price action. Typically with V-shaped recoveries, right, and this is a V-shaped recovery right here. Typically with V-shaped recoveries, you stop above where the V formed, not below. So here we are, right there, just at where the V formed, just above where the V formed. We stopped there. We're starting to pump without volume. We're starting to dump with volume coming in. I'm thinking that today, Sunday, is going to be a red day, and that's not a huge leap of logic. I don't know. That's not a huge dot to connect. A huge couple. I don't know how to phrase that properly. It's not a huge connection to make. I don't know. It's not that hard to connect these dots that we're probably going to pull back, because typically, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but over the weekend, we don't really move too much. So if we moved up on Saturday, we likely move down on Sunday. We're probably going to be very, very close to this $104.4 thousand level, the price that we closed at on Friday, by the end of today. And I mean, to be completely fair, we could close right here. We're still pretty damn close to that price, right? I do expect that we go lower. I very much do expect that we go lower. The 1 hour time frame, at least from here, does look bearish, and that would imply that we go lower. But that might not be enough to go down to where I'm thinking we're going to go. Let's look at the 4 hour time frame. 4 hour time frame here, not even getting overbought, rejecting the same areas that you've rejected every single time. You look at the RSI here, literally rejected here, rejected there. Even a weaker reading here, the weakest of the three. Got a lower high here, a lower high here, and a lower high here. Each time that you've rejected this area and formed a lower high, rejected here, lower high here compared to that high, rejected here, lower high here compared to that high, rejected here, lower high here compared to that high. Do you know what happened after each one of those lower highs? We formed a lower low. We formed a lower low. We formed a, you guessed it, right? You guessed it before I could even say it. You said it right there. Good job. Lower low is what's coming. And if we find a lower low, what's going to happen? You know, that's a good question. From a low to a high, the expectation would be at least at a bare ass minimum, something that is at $99,000, if not lower. $99,000 to me doesn't make a whole lot of sense. In fact, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. What makes the most sense to me would be something that's around $96,000 to $95,000, and it just so happens that this also lines up from a low to a high. That $96,000 to $95,000 range lines up with this 382 area. This is actually why I've derived this, or this is where I derived that price prediction from. It's no coincidence that this price area, the 382, also lines up with the 1886200 level, which Bitcoin has been finding resistance on and support on periodically throughout this whole cycle, let alone through relative price action. Let's just see here. If we take a high here to a low right there, if you notice, okay, well, you didn't actually find resistance right at the 1886200 to be completely fair. You did grow a little bit. You found momentary resistance here. You back tested and you did find resistance right in this zone here. There was another one. Let me see. There was one where you did find resistance. Maybe it's this one right here. Let's see. Going back here from this high to this low right there. You did find resistance at the 1886200, but you kept growing just above the 2272. You're finding a little turbulence there now. Maybe it was something else. I thought it was Bitcoin, but maybe it's something else. Let's see. From a low to a high here. Where is it? Still significance on all these time frames at the 1886200. Look at that. You found direct support off the 1886 there. Went below the 2272 again. You know, after all these fibs that I've taken recently, it's actually making me think that we're more likely to go to the 2272 than we are to the 1886200 level. If we're going to the 2272, that would imply that we see prices that are probably just below $93,800. It's very possible we could go there. I'm thinking we go to 95.7 to 95.2K. That makes the most sense to me. That's very near that 382. The overall 382 from this, from this low to high right here, from that low to high right there, it's the overall 382 right in that area. If I can get the low on there properly, come on now. 382 right here, right at that area. It makes a lot of sense to me that we'd find support there, but we could go down to 93.8K. We could go down a little bit below that. That's fine, right? Something in that area, 96K, 93K. Here we are at $105,500 now. I very much do believe, just looking at the price action for what it is, we're at a lower high. This move up that happened over the past 2 days was done without volume over the weekend. Typically, when you make a move up over the weekend, you move down over the week. If you move down over the weekend, you move up over the week. That's how it happens. And if we're going to move down, just at a simple look, without all this other stuff going on, without the RSIs, without anything else, just looking at the fib, if we're going to go down, we found support here. If we're going to go down and see a lower low, where's the next area for support? It's right there, which coincidentally agrees with all these other levels that we've identified in this video already. So that's where I think we're going to go. I know a lot of people are bullish on Bitcoin. I'm actually kind of curious. Let's see what the Fear and Greed Index says right now. Let's see. Hold on. It's actually at the same. It's basically stagnant. So that's not helpful. It doesn't really matter, but that's okay. I do feel like after watching some YouTube videos today, I do feel like people are more bullish, but maybe that's just the YouTubers. I don't know. But I'm still under the impression we will go to 95.8K, which is a direct pivot from where I was about a week ago, right? A week ago, I thought that we would move down to the 236, bounce from there, and then be moving up, coming up upon this week here, right? 19 hours, 42 minutes from now, when we close this week, we open up next week. I thought this coming week, starting on the 9th, going until the 15th, I thought we'd be moving up to new all-time highs this coming week. But this week, actually, what we have ahead of us going into not just the rest of today, but tomorrow, the next day, probably by Tuesday, I think Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll be down here at about 95.8K. That's the expectation. I expect that we'll get this done with pretty quickly. I don't think that it's going to take too much time, but I do think that we're going to go down in this area. At least, if we're not there, there is a chance where we could find support at this area of resistance here, which happens to be prior resistance and support back here. Maybe we find support at 98K, but I doubt it. I doubt it. At this point, I'm even starting to doubt that we find support right at 95.8K and that we actually might go below $94,000 even. But I digress. I got nothing else to say, guys. So hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I got nothing else for you guys. Take care. See you on the next one. Bye bye.